Welcome to Good News, Bad News, the Libertarian Christian Roundtable, where every other week we challenge the status quo and give you the libertarian Christian analysis of what's happening in your world.
Welcome back to another episode of Good News, Bad News, the Libertarian Christian Roundtable. This is a project of the Libertarian Christian Institute. Please make sure to like and subscribe to us here. We're going to be doing this all through 2022. You'll find us every other week, commenting on the news of the day and having a good time lambasting status and lifting up interesting items that will to your attention and to shed some light on the news of the day. So today we're going to do something a little different though, because we are this is January 5th of 2022. And we thought, let's do a little retrospective on dear old 2021. It was kind of a dumpster fire of a year. As you can see, I'm still dealing with it in my house. And other than that, you know, we're really looking forward to getting in underway with this year for bigger and better things. But, you know, good things happen too. So we're going to do a little bit of best and worst of 2021. And everybody here has hopefully got something to kind of talk about with regards to what was the best thing, what was the worst thing, what was the good news, what was the bad news. So I'm gonna begin right off the bat and say that for me, I would say, and by the way, I should also say, I don't know what everybody's going to say. We've given basically no guidelines as to what qualities or qualifications should go into how you judge best or worst. It is up to each of us. So for me, my best of 21 should come as no surprise for if you know me at all. It's Bitcoin, baby. Bitcoin was the best thing of 2021. It was what an exciting year for cryptocurrencies overall, but of course our dear beloved Bitcoin, sound money advocates unite. This is the way to go. It's become clearer and clearer that Bitcoin is going to win in the long run, and it's not going to be stopped. It is amazing to see that we had, of course, a tremendous, appreciation of the asset relative to world currencies, across the entire year, opening at in the beginning of 2020, it was like 20,000, got up to a high of like 69. Now it's around that 45 to 50 range. And at the end of 2021, who cares? This is amazing that ignore the noise, follow the trend. We're trending up, and world currencies are going down. That's so it's a good lesson. You don't get involved at least a little bit in Bitcoin, because shorting, why would you ever want to short Bitcoin? It's a terrible idea. So at least hold on to some. Don't hold on to dollars, baby.
I bought it too high, so
yeah. Well, that was your fault.
Not the wisest.
I gave you an opportunity to go on my time machine, and you.
I don't want your ground floors. I don't want your plastics. I'm getting out of this town.
But it was a great year for crypto, and I think read the Bitcoin Standard, read the bullish case for Bitcoin, go learn a little. It's great stuff. Worst of 2021. There's so many bad things to have to report on in there, but I think among the worst of that.
Or your third degree burns that you're receiving right now.
Yeah, the third degree burns that are occurring under my feet right now. I'm just going to go out there and just say the White House. I was pretty, I wasn't high on the Biden administration. I mean, that much is obvious. I'm rather known for saying I'm already against the next president, and and that every president sucks.com, and stuff like that. But I could not be, even I could be surprised on the level of idiocy coming out of an administration. And policy, there's hardly anything that went good in this administration so far. and that's really saying something, because you tried to find at least the closest thing is okay, well, yeah, getting out of Afghanistan is a good thing. We need to be out of Afghanistan, but by George, you really managed it. You're so bad, you screwed that up. Come on.
Let's leave $23 billion worth of materials behind for our enemies to pick up and use against us.
Yeah. Oh, that's a genius move there, guys. You really, really did a good one.
Good management on that.
So that's my best and worst. And yes, that is fairly broad, but broad strokes, but that's just the way I'm thinking about things thus far. So best Bitcoin, worst White House. All right.
Well, I'm
Matt,
going to
what do you
share
think?
your worst with you here with this lovely little clip that we've had throughout the campaign
$2 billion in overtime was denied by hourly workers who are not unionized. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happens?
Yes, what happens?
Yeah,
I would love to know what happened there, as well as everybody else. I know that's a little bit of a clip, but it just kind of is a short way to say we went from mean tweets to indiscernible speech in 1 year, and it's been an interesting time period. So that really is, I agree with you, probably my worst. But I would say that my best from this past year was something that we got to do in Pennsylvania. And I was actually, frankly, very proud of, because some of the work that we did with Reopen PA and some other groups were able to change some things around and actually turn the tide of tyrannical power within the state. We actually limited the governor's powers, Tom Wolf's powers, in the state of Pennsylvania through a referendum. Some people didn't like it. Some people did. I think, hey, anything that limits your governor's powers is going to be a good thing in the end.
Good deal.
So, yay for us.
Yeah.
We're doing something good. Looking through the annals of history, that will be a win for us.
All right. Carrie, you're on mute. There you go.
Sorry. Okay. So my best and worst. Well, I'm going to start with the worst. It's no secret that I have been concerned with the psychological impact of lockdowns, and all the COVID propaganda and all the nonsense going on. One of my very first articles on LCI actually came out in 2020 and talking about the concept of a moral panic. Eventually in 2021, the YouTube channel, the Academy of Ideas, put out a video talking about something called mass psychosis, which explains a lot of the psychological impact that I've been talking about and raising red flags about. And so that, I would say, is the worst of 2021, but the best of 2021 is that on the very last day, Joe Rogan posted an interview with Dr. Robert Malone, who is, they say he invented the mRNA technology in the vaccines. I wouldn't maybe give him that much credibility, but
that was a combination of people. But yeah, still.
Combination of people, but really smart guy. And he also pointed out on the Joe Rogan podcast this idea of mass psychosis, and the Google search engine just went berserk, and now everybody's Googling it, which is probably one of the best things that could possibly happen. Is people are waking up and figuring out that we've been had, and it's time. So I'm looking forward to a more positive outlook. I don't know when that will come, but yeah, that's my best.
It's interesting too, because the elites don't like Joe Rogan primarily because he gets a listenership that is combined more than all of the top rated shows on television. So he really has an audience that goes far and wide. And if you're going to have that kind of wave of people researching one topic at one time, going through the social atmosphere, that's going to be saying something here pretty soon.
Well, and just for the record, you've got a lot of the establishment types and those people who have been parroting the mainstream corporate, propaganda narrative, can't ignore it now. I did do a search for it just before I came, before we got on, and noticed that there's even a lot of YouTube channels that are aligned with the mainstream narrative on COVID, who are completely missing the boat on what mass psychosis is. They think it's an invention of the right in order to get Trump back into office. So, at this point, they can't come up with their talking points now. Yeah. So, they can't ignore it. They can't silence it. And people are paying attention, which I think is great. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, even to consider that, like, we have at LCI been very critical of statism in as much as, like we're saying, it's kind of like an alternative religion, but and that is very much true, and the state is the enemy of God and so on. But it with as much emphasis these days on mental health in general, that it kind of stands to reason that using that kind of language in as a kind of weaponized language against the state to describe what's going on, because it's also true, is really helpful. So there you go. Good stuff.
Very good stuff.
Aaron, what are you thinking? Best, worst 2021?
Okay, worst should be easy. Inflation. We told everyone that the level of expansion from the monetary authorities and the fiscal authorities was way, way, way too fast to what supply chains could do. And guess what? The money came in much, much faster than the new goods, than the goods could support or could match. So that was a really, really bad one. Yeah, and remember how it went? Like, it's temporary. Well, it's actually a little bit longer than we thought,
but was still transitory.
No, it's actually good.
No, it's a good thing. Now it's endemic and just here to stay.
And one of the great things that I discovered, because I have heard a lot of my friends that you could consider Keynesians, I guess, or post-Keynesians also. They were forever, even before the inflation, they were for sure that inflation reduces inequality. They were completely convinced, and I couldn't get information on how they got that information. I'm kidding you not. Before the inflation, it's not like it happened right now. And I was trying to ask them, but what do you mean by that? And they were just going a rant and whatever. Like,
they read Thomas Piketty. That's probably where they got it from.
No, it's worse. By the way.
That's worse. No.
Now, I finally figured it out after a lot of talking, and one of those things that were passing by. This is what a lot of people that are kind of Keynesians in economics think. They truly do believe that most wealthy people hold to what we call bonds or fixed income, that when they invest in fixed income. That's completely false, because right now, actually, that's kind of like the point. Most wealthy people don't invest in fixed income, or very little. They invest in variable income, like all the way from real estate to stocks and whatever, and even Bitcoin, because it's a variable return. But they are totally where this came from was from the 1800s, when there was this debate between the gold standard and whether we should have silver instead of gold, and so on and so forth. Because back then in the 1800s, wealthy people used to invest in only fixed income. And so back then was, if we let inflation go, then that's actually going to reduce inequality. But that's 1800s. And it took me forever to figure it out, because they themselves couldn't. And that's before the inflation. When inflation hit, finally, when they were going like, okay, so it's here to stay. No, it's actually good. And what was the first thing that they came up with to say, well, it was actually good? Oh, it's going to reduce inequality. And so we had to do the homework and find out, like, no, that's just not how it works. And you're talking about people with PhDs saying this. And it was very frustrating. So that's why I'm saying it was bad. And at the intellectual level, at the political level, and just on a daily basis on people's personal life, it obviously affects you that prices are rising faster than people's incomes. That's just the way it is. That's the bad side. The good side, 150 years of Menger's principles of economics. The father of all Austrian economists. We celebrated. We read through his books. I highly, highly recommend you guys to read Menger directly. Just go directly to the source. Some highlights for the people that are not familiar with it, that the people familiar already know. All value is subjective. Let me give a little extra. Be careful when people tell you that value cannot be subjective, because it's noticeably dependent upon the culture that surrounds you. Like you have very close valuations to your family, friends, whatever. Well, that doesn't make it objective. That makes it what we will call intersubjective, which means since we're social animals, we tend to value things. We like to be part of groups. And so we're going to tend to closely value stuff that people that we care for are gonna. But that doesn't make it objective. That just means that, guess what? People that we care for, subjectively care for, influence the way that we see the world, and therefore we're gonna value things pretty much at the same rates, but not identical, by the way. Second one, awesome work on the development of money. I highly recommend if you guys go and read. Oh, well, actually, the articles that I'm posting and I'm writing right now have to do with Menger's work on the development of money. And another one that is important, just in case someday you see it, for the ones that are not aware of, is when Menger used to use the word commodity, he did not mean only physical stuff that are saleable. It's everything that is saleable, from a piece of paper to a finished product to an unfinished product. Everything that is ready, that the individual wants to sell, that's considered a commodity in the scientific way of seeing it. For regular people, usually we tend to say, well, yeah, kind of like wheat, gold, corn, or whatever.
Oil,
but anything that is for sale, scientifically speaking, we call that commodity. And just so you guys know that, when people were battling against Bitcoin being like, oh, it's nothing, I said, no. People are holding it and they want us to sell it later. Therefore, in the Mengerian view, it's a commodity.
Yeah.
It just happens to be a digital commodity.
Yep.
And that's it. There's nothing to it. I mean, it can be luxury commodity or whatever you want to call it, but it is, scientifically speaking,
coffee,
a commodity.
Orange juice, beef,
Bitcoin,
bacon, pork belly.
So I think up to there.
So happy birthday, Mr. Menger, Professor Menger, and to the Austrian school in many respects, right? Because that's really where so much of the best ideas on economics have ever really come from.
Happy birthday to the Principles of Economics book from Menger.
Right.
That founded.
I'm really kind of surprised that you guys didn't talk about probably the most important birthday that we've experienced this year.
What's that?
This was the 10-year anniversary of the invention of the burrito. Let us all
wait, what?
Let us all hail our North Korean overlords who have developed the burrito for us. All hail Kim Jong-il, who hath given us the burrito. 10 years ago, he invented it in 2011 to battle hunger in North Korea, giving it to little children and stuffing it into your face hole.
Okay.
Look at the majestic factories that make the burrito shells. Watch them go up and down in tubes of meat. Spinning racks
what is this
meat
madness?
Made from cats. And people wrapping them gingerly and placing them in rows, ever so gently.
Okay, you may need to explain this.
So
I'll explain it.
Thank you, Kim Jong-il, for inventing the burrito.
There is no Mexican culture without Kim Jong. So.
Exactly.
Just so everybody knows, especially our podcast listeners, there was a report that came out on metro.co.uk saying that Kim Jong-il is credited in North Korea as being the inventor of the burrito back in 2011.
Oh, well, okay.
So 2021 was the 10th year. 2021 was the 10th year anniversary of the invention of the burrito.
There were no burritos before 2011.
I didn't go to Taco Bell as a kid. I didn't do that.
What's that? Another invention of Kim Jong.
Is this kind of like the Berenstain Bear problem? Like we look back in the past and now we don't see any instances of burritos. Is that the problem now? Because I don't. Oh no! The Matrix is glitched. Oh no! Oh no!
We don't have to look in the past. We can just be thankful that we have it now. So
that's right. Burritos.
Burritos.
Amazing. Well, that was a fun set of things to ponder on, and now I'm hungry. I need a burrito.
Burritos.
Burrito too. It looked kind of good.
Yeah,
they're very good.
It looked like they were including kimchi in there, though. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was like cabbage and like what are they called? Doner meat. So yeah,
I don't know. Donner meat. Is that like reindeer? Or what?
I was gonna say goes to Rudolph meat.
It's like meat that they make on a spit and then they shave off and everything like that. And you're always just kind of wondering, like, what is that? Are you sure it's actually that
Maybe
might
cat.
be my cousin Joe?
Funny you should say that. In random point of cultural reference here. The movie Soylent Green actually takes place in 2022. I just recently learned that. We're entering an age now where movies are going to start converging. Movies from the past that predicted or talked about the future are going to be contemporaneous with what we are now.
Yeah, well, we
Blade
had
Runner.
1984 never quit, and so there's that.
Can I share something quick?
Please.
Okay, so just so you guys know,
and
some of the stuff that you guys saw in North Korea, in Mexico, at least northern Mexico, we call them trompos. I have no clue how to say that in English, but this is gonna make sense.
Trompos.
Trump bars.
You see, that thing on the left, it's what we used to play. It's a kid's toy, and we call it trompo.
Okay.
I have no clue. How do you call that in English? I have no clue.
That's a spinning top.
That's the top.
Yeah, it's a top. Yeah.
There you go. And on the right side, guess what? It's the other trompo, but the one with meat.
Oh.
So both are trompos.
I've only seen these at Brazilian steakhouses and stuff.
Well, Brazilian trompos.
Well, to conclude, let's just say that if you're looking forward to a great 2022, so are we. I hope that you'll stick with us both here at Good News, Bad News on YouTube or on your favorite podcast catcher. Or if you'll also join us at libertarianchristians.com. Check us out. The Libertarian Christian Institute is posting nearly daily content. We put out a lot of material, and there's more and more things to consume and to learn and to be edified by. And let me also kind of give you another quick shout out to one of our more recent projects. Take a look at thepandemicbites.com, where we're doing a short email list where you get some bite-sized content about a pandemic that does totally bite. So that's thepandemicbites.com. So check that out. You get some good content there. And of course, if you're looking for something to pick up and read in the new year, take a look at our book, Faith Seeking Freedom. It's pretty awesome, and it's we're looking to spread that message far and wide this year. We're actually gonna have a Spanish translation this year. That's going to be a highlight of the year. It's going to happen, guys. And I for one am looking forward to being able to not read the things that I've written yet again. But
soy libertarian.
Yeah. Great. Gracious thanks to my co-hosts here. Thank you all, and we are wishing you a happy new year. Have a great 2022, fellas.